Okay, today we're going to start our unit on conics. So it'd be everything that I'm really doing the examples. So the definitions are listed in the PDF of the notes, and then you have the whole packet that gives you what a conic is. So hopefully you watch those two YouTube videos. It does give you a good idea that what you have is sort of like two cones. A double napped cone is like two ice cream cones put on top of each other, one right side up, one upside down. You can cut that cone four different ways. And if you look at the first page of the note packet, it sort of shows you that first picture, if it goes slanted like this, you're going to get an ellipse. If it goes slanted and only hits one part of that bottom cone, you're going to get a parabola. If you go straight up and go through both parts, you're going to get a hyperbola. And if you go parallel to the base of the cone, you're going to get a circle. And then at the bottom of that first page, the upper left would be a circle, the lower left would be a parabola, the upper right would be an ellipse, and the bottom right is a hyperbola. So what I'm doing today is the circle. So when we talk about the definition of a circle, which is listed in those notes, circle is the set of all points equidistant from a set point, which would be called the center. So you have that center. All those points are the same distance from the center, which is the radius, which gives you a circle. So the standard of an equation of a circle, which we did go over when we went over trig. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Center would be hk, radius of r. So you're going to see all forms of these where you have a squared x and a squared y. Why these are conics. You can't put this in a y equals equation because except for the right side up or upside down parabola, none of them are functions. They're not going to pass the vertical line test. So just looking at those examples on the note packet, if you look at the first equation, y minus 2 squared plus x minus 1 squared equals 7. So if I say, what's the coordinate of the center? You want to think opposite of that, opposite of that, opposite of x, opposite of y. The radius is the square root of r squared. So be careful of the order. Center would be 1, 2. Radius would be square root of 7. So how would you draw that? You're going to put your center at 1, 2. And then you'd have to think the square root of 7 is 2 point, I don't have it written down. I don't have a calculator. 2 point something. So you would go that right, that left, that up, that down from 1, 2. And there would be your circle. With the second example, the difference is with that, it doesn't look like that. So you have to think you can't have fractions with denominators for a circle. So how do you get rid of that 16 on the bottom? You would have to multiply the entire equation, every term, by 16 over 1. So then your new equation would be that. So what is the center of that circle? Opposite, opposite, square root. -1, +3, radius would be 4. So that's not a very good looking circle, but you put that dot at -1, 3. You go right 4, left 4, up 4, down 4, draw your circle. If I ask you to write the equation, I give you the center and then I give you a point. Well, knowing the center, you have that, but you don't have the radius. So there's different ways to do it. Um, you could solve that equation by plugging in 1 for x, 0 for y, meaning there would be the equation. If you look at that work, I have to talk at the camera. So I did the math. The other option is you can think of the distance formula. And you can think how far away are those 2 points, because that would be your radius. Well, if you think of Pythagorean theorem, you went to get from 1 to 3, you went 2 right. 0 to -7 is down 7. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 2 squared plus 7 squared, that would be R squared, which is 53. That I always show it that way, but then I know a lot of people just sort of think this is the easier way to do it. So then last one, center is 5, 0. I don't really need to put y minus 0 squared. And then my point on the circle is -1, -3. If I do it by plug-in, R squared would be 45. I have to talk in the camera, so um, just if you're asked to graph it, you would want to square root 45 to find the radius, but the equation uses R squared. So that's a circle. We'll look at an ellipse. Circle, you were supposed to have done a circle in geometry. So you should have some knowledge on that. I tried to do these sort of uh, easiest to most difficult is, I guess, what I would say. So that's it for today.